Welcome to another episode of The Verdict. I'm Lucian Parrish.
I'm Alan Barty.
And I'm Paul Schuhart.
And on this week's episode, we will be taking a relaxing approach and discussing our favorite slice of life movies. This is The Verdict. Spoilers ahead. The movie I chose for this week is one of the most quintessential 80s high school movies, Fast Times at Ridgemont High. This movie was released in 1982 and directed by Amy Heckerling. Let's check out the trailer.
Universal Pictures presents everything you always wanted to do in high school with everyone you always wanted to do it with.
Hey, bud, let's party.
They're the students of Ridgemont High. Brad Hamilton, the fast food king.
I shall serve no fries before their time.
It says 100% guaranteed, you moron.
Mister, if you don't shut up, I'm gonna kick 100% of your ass.
Charles Jefferson, a man with a mission.
Oh, gnarly.
Linda Barrett, not exactly the girl next door.
Awesome. Totally awesome.
And Jeff surfs up Spicoli.
People on lewds should not drive. That was my skull. I'm so wasted.
See Fast Times at Ridgemont High.
Everybody. So before we get into talking about our movies, maybe we should really explain what a slice of life movie is. A slice of life is just really just like getting up, people living their day-to-day lives. There's no real specific plot, no 3-act structure, just people going about their day-to-day lives. And so my film, Fast Times at Ridgemont High, it just follows, students, 80s high school students. And I think it really does encompass the high school experience, even though some of them are like, look kind of older, they're kind of pushing it. Like, as you were saying, one of them look kind of old.
Pushing it is like understanding it. I mean, you literally pushing off a cliff. I mean, literally, the actor who played Brad, I forgot his name, but it's just like I know. Sorry. The actor who played Brad. I was watching it. I was like, I know this is high school. And at first I thought, no joke. I thought, oh, who's this like random dude walking through the mall, like this grown man? And then all of a sudden he was like, yeah, I'm in high school. I'm like, high school? Like I was in high school 5 years ago. Hold up now.
He was a super senior.
Whose dad is on the set?
And also that's and then also like the other characters that look a little bit younger and stuff. But I think all of the chicks, they look high school, and a lot of the guys just looked like pushing like 30.
That's the thing that made me uncomfortable, because you didn't give me any warnings about this movie. Nobody did, because I was watching this movie being like, okay, this is a nice PG movie, following teenagers doing their thing, probably doing a little Breakfast Club. I'm into that. And then all of a sudden, bam! I'm like, whoa! Like, so somebody where's the black cube at? Like, come on now, like, what's happening?
Funny enough on that, back in the day, like video rental stores had a problem with the videotapes. They really had to put like notes out saying like, hey, if you like rent this movie out, do not pause it, do not rewind it to the pool house, in the pool scene in the movie. It like got that bad, people just like going back and rewinding that part.
No, that is just nasty.
Which I'm sure that's not the only movie it's happened to, but I think it's funny enough that movie stores had to like go out and be like, hey,
like my first impression of the movie was like, look, I know this was a slice of life movie, teenagers, quote unquote teenagers, because a lot of these people are in their 30s or 20s, going through their day-to-day lives and everything, and there is like a main plots, like quote unquote, because you have like the main girl, going through her thing with her best friend, and also these two dudes. But then you also have these side plots, I would say, with Brad and like I guess I forgot his name, but like the Cowabunga dude,
Spicoli,
yeah, him and the teacher. Like to me, it just felt like like a cartoon or a short where this could easily just be its own thing.
Yeah.
But I know, like, this, of course, is a slice of life movie and there's no plot, but I just felt like throughout this movie, you know, with Brad and although that cowabunga dude, it didn't really end it how I thought it would end.
Yeah.
Typically, because usually, you know, with the plots, no spoilers, they would have the whole thing where, you know, he stops doing drugs, he gets his life together. Nope, he's still the same dude
Same guy.
at the end, from beginning to end. There ain't no, like, hero rising from the ashes. It's like, nope, you the same dude here at the end. No ifs and no buts. That's pretty much it.
And that's like kind of cool, you know. Like, there's no like real character development. He just kind of stayed stagnant. And I think there's also like stuff to be said about that character staying the same almost and just going through their environment. I think that's kind of cool, you know. And it also kind of like like you said, you know, subverts your expectations. And he just kind of turns into that guy you went to high school with, you know.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so true. I didn't even think about that. Yeah, this is actually the first time I actually saw this. Like, I actually own the movie because it's like a double feature with Dazed and Confused.
Oh, okay. Yeah, okay,
so,
that makes sense.
So I had to look for it because I've never seen it, and I was kind of shocked that like Sean Penn's in this movie.
Yeah.
Like I was like, oh, this guy's kind of funny. I was like, I didn't know because like in his later career, like what I've seen, it was all very serious drama. So I was like, I didn't know this dude could like make me laugh.
And like you were saying before we started that, I think he got recognized by the Library of Congress, I think, for cultural.
Yeah. In 2005, the film was recognized for its cultural significance, which is crazy because there's still movies and stuff about like high school stuff. I wonder why people are so interested.
Yeah,
in that
and which is crazy too is a movie from like 1980 having that and having a female director as well.
Oh, yeah. I didn't even know there was a film director on this, especially at that time, like you were saying.
Yeah, but I like at the offset of that, the screenwriter who also wrote the novel is based on. He's a dude. So because this actually is based on the novel that came out the previous year of the same name. And funny enough, like the high school, I believe is actually based on a real high school in San Diego because there's an interview out there with on Conan with Jerry Trainer, who actually I think he went to the high school it's based on, and he's like, yeah, we had a Mr. Hand, but he was the chemistry teacher. I think it was a different name, of course, whatever. And you know, like he said in the interview, he's like, you know, Jeff Spicoli is just the archetype of everybody from San Diego, California.
I mean, the biggest takeaway for this movie is that it doesn't shy away for, you know, teenagers sometimes being nasty.
Yeah, just being.
Like, I know that they are perfect little angels. I know they grown
Yeah.
up. And
Yeah,
the movie was like, I
that's
feel uncomfortable.
admirable.
I feel like the FBI is going to march at my door real quick.
Yeah.
Somebody turn this off.
And I think that's admirable, you know, like showing how teenagers can be like deplorable people because they're just learning to be people, you know. Yeah. And also this movie, the young Nick Cage for the first time.
Oh yeah.
Wait, he had
That
just
was
a little
shock.
2-second cameo, just nods his head up and goes back down. And I actually had to look at the clip again because I'm like, that wasn't him.
Look,
I was like, oh.
Before you like mentioned Nicolas Cage, I'm like, this is Cage. Nicolas Cage. I don't see him. Like, where is it? And so he was like in one scene.
Yeah, it's
pretty
like
much?
when the guy was giving Brad a hard time at the breakfast, you know. And then like the
Oh,
two guys in the
yeah.
back, they looked like do their heads up and then go back down. That was.
I should have known that was Nicolas Cage. The brother can't stop shaking his head.
It was funny enough. I think he went by his original name during the film of that movie. I forget what his original last name.
Coppola.
Coppola.
Yeah,
And apparently he got
Francis.
made fun of so much on the set. I think after that he changed it to Cage.
Man, even adults, they're bullies.
All right, so we'll be right back after this quick break.
You're not going to get it all right. Just make sure you nail the big stuff, like making sure your kids are in the right seat for their age and size. Get it right at nhtsa.gov/the-right-seat.
Back. The movie that I picked is the classic Studio Ghibli 1980 animated film, My Neighbor Totoro. Here's the trailer.
今日はとてもすごいニュースがあるんです。メイがお化けのトトロに出会いました。私は自分も会えたらいいなと思っています。
So after watching that magical, mystical trailer, which has the trailer play, I'll kind of jam it a little bit. So a fun fact is that for the dub of this movie, like the sisters are played by Dakota Fanning and her little sister Ella Fanning, which I did not know that. I should have done my research. Thank you, Talon, who's out behind the camera right now. But so he's waving. But the thing about this movie that I do love is that, like, this was like back in 1988, so it was before like other like magical like Studio Ghibli films like Spirited Away, Howl's Moving Castle. And the thing about it is that the magical aspect isn't really the focus of the movie at all. It's just pretty much a minor point of the movie. The point of the movie is just to showcase the lives of Sasuke and her little sister, going through life, moving to a new house with their dad. Currently, their mom's in the hospital, and at the towards the end of the film, it's like there's gonna be this big dramatic scene, but it turns out no, it was all this misunderstanding. It wasn't anything big at all. And again, I just love just showing nature, showing these kids living their lives, showing what it's like to live in Japan at this time. What you guys think of the movie?
I really just like this, the scenery in general, like you said, the nature and stuff. Actually, when I was going on HBO to watch this, they had like a little playlist, like a video, and it was just Studio Ghibli. It was like background noise and like just nature to like have on your TV. And I thought that was really cool. And actually, after I got done watching it, I did put that on when I was.
Well, you're just like doing your essay while listening to some Studio
Ghibli
Ghibli movie.
It's a nice, just little like background noise. It's very nice, and as well as the music and stuff. I really, especially like the intro and stuff. I love the music and Studio Ghibli movies and stuff like that.
This is actually my first time watching this. I've heard of it, and I've seen other works by Studio Ghibli, but I never really I don't know, this one never struck out to me, so I never I was like, eh. But I really liked it. It was so I don't know, it was not an experience that I think I've ever had before watching a movie. It was just so beautiful to look at. It was just and it was just so much fun.
Yeah, the movie is great on the background, and for everyone listening, there is a little background noise. Sorry about that. But going back to the movie itself, the thing I remember when I was first watching it, it really did put me at ease because it's very relaxing. Just showing kids being kids. It just shows. Nature, there's one line where I love when the father said, there was a time when, trees and people used to be friends and all. And it really just shows that, it's the thing throughout a lot of Studio Ghibli films, so I can't say that out loud, I'm so emotional about it, where it just, every film touches upon, the spirits, nature, how humans have affected nature, all that kind of stuff, and not in a very preachy way, just in a very, realistic and just
here it is,
casual way, here it is, this is how it is. And the thing about the film also is that I just remember, watching it and just feeling I wonder what it's like when this movie first came out, because I think when this film first came out, I didn't think it do that well, but then it kind of blew up on, TV and everything, and straight to DVD and stuff. And of course, it has very iconic scenes. It has that iconic, Totoro with the umbrella by the rain stop. It has the Cheshire Cat bus, for some reason. But is there anything else you guys want to mention?
Isn't it hand drawn?
Of course, hand drawn, man.
That is so
crazy.
It
came out in 1988.
That is insane. Just I don't know. I was trying to hold on to that thought the whole time I was watching because I was just so blown away by just how beautiful.
Oh yeah, people will always say that hand drawn animation always holds up. You look at early Pixar films as a comparison. You look at stuff like Bugs Life or even the original Toy Story, and then you compare that stuff to stuff like Snow White and Pinocchio that came out in the early 1950s and 60s and stuff, and they still hold up because hand-drawn animation will always have this very I would say just
it has the human aspect to it.
It's a very human aspect to it. And I know. Sorry to cut you off.
You're fine. It's just because the computers and stuff. It's not there's still people behind it, but it's it kind of puts a wall between the human creating it and the art itself. Which is not bad because there are plenty of good movies that have been computer animated. But it's hard to tell in the next 10, 20 years this movie. If it's going to hold up like this movie and other.
Hasn't Studio Ghibli actually started moving away from that?
Oh yeah, so I remember it came out I think 2 years ago where it was a film, I can't remember the name of it, but it was panned because it was Studio Ghibli's first attempt at 3D animation. And it was about, I guess a witch and a band, all that kind of stuff. And the thing about it is that it still had that Studio Ghibli art style, but the thing that people didn't like about it where, you compare it to something like Pixar or Illumination or DreamWorks, where it didn't feel right. It just felt not cheap, but it didn't have that same magic to it. You know what I'm saying?
It didn't have a soul, maybe.
Yeah, like it's like one of those things. I think it was the first time, you know, these 2D animators tried to work on something 3D, and it just didn't really work out.
And that's
that
the
well.
thing, like Pixar and Disney and stuff. They've had like what 20, 25 years to like get good at, you know, and like this is their first stab at it. You know, and obviously it's gonna, like you said, the early Toy Story movies and Bugs Life. I mean, they kind of show their age and show like their flaws and everything. So I mean, I'm sure if they continue to like go forward with the 3D animation, I'm sure they'll be able to.
I mean, the thing is, like 2D animation is much more expensive.
It
than
is.
3D
It's
animation.
just more time consuming
Yeah, I was
as
saying
well.
that longer, right? I said and longer, right?
Yeah,
just
I'm
like-
sure that especially now they don't want to pay people as much. Yeah, we see with Marvel, they don't want to pay their animators and stuff. So
Man, like, yeah, I kind of like Totoro. I'm not really. Is he like a? What am I thinking of? Not a. He almost looks like a rabbit almost.
I mean, I
I'm
think
not
he's
really
a mixture
sure.
between like a raccoon,
chinchilla.
a bear,
Raccoon, yeah.
something. And the thing about Totoro is that he has this quality where he's cute, but at the same time kind of terrifying a little bit.
yeah, almost like kind of like a father kind of thing, almost like. It's like I love you, but
Yeah, I mean,
I'll
there's
scream it.
scenes in here where if you think about it, it's like, wait, this makes no sense, because you think about the whole tree scene,
Yeah.
and then it's like, wait, was that a dream or not? What's happening? And people could argue that, like, oh, random stuff just happens, but I feel like it's just, I don't know, it's just, I wouldn't say it's random, but maybe like dreamlike in a sense. We don't know what's happening. It doesn't make sense, but at the same time, it does make sense a little bit.
And I like movies like that. It doesn't really tell you what's going on. It's like it just kind of leaves it up to you to have your own interpretation. I feel like that's this movie is one of its pluses. You make your own interpretation of it and what's going on.
I always feel like this one's kind of always. I feel like this one's left out of the conversation when people talk about studio.
Oh no,
Ghibli.
you're wrong about that.
Yeah, it's
Like-
usually one of the first ones to talk.
I feel like the first one people, at least the one that people turned me on to, was Spirited Away.
I mean, yeah, but when it comes to icon, everything in Studio Ghibli, they always show that, Totoro rain scene. But, just to piggyback off of that, let's go to the next film after these commercials.
The black truck? Hey, Christina from accounting.
Yeah, hi.
Hey, I used to date a girl named Christina.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and then she dumped me for my best friend. You want to see some photos of them that I took?
I don't.
I thought we talked about this, buddy.
Buzzed and overshared again?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm gonna call a car.
That's a smart idea.
So, yeah, I know, that's why I did it.
Hey, you're gonna get back to the top of the mountain.
Does that mean I'm gonna get back with Christina?
No.
Oh.
No.
Florida Project is a film by Sean Baker set in the shadow of the most magical place on earth. It looks at these kids as they forge their friendships and adventures, and more seriously looking at the struggles that the parents go through. And it's kind of undercut with this kind-hearted motel manager that's trying to protect the kids from the harsh reality that surrounds them. Let's take a look at the Florida Project.
Thanks for calling the Magic Castle, it's Amber. Yeah, sure do. $38 a night.
Okay, I warned you. One drip and you're out.
Oh, come on!
Out now.
It's gonna melt outside.
It's melting inside, too.
But Bobby,
Out. Thank you very much.
you're not welcome! The man who lives in here gets arrested a lot. These are the rooms we're not supposed to go in. But let's go anyway. Could you give us some change, please? The doctor said we have asthma and we gotta eat ice cream right away.
Here you go.
Hey, Lee, got a situation here. Open up. It's only second week of the summer and there's already been a dead fish in the pool.
We're trying to get it back alive.
Water balloons thrown at tourists.
Boobies! Boobies!
I failed as a mother, Mooney.
Yeah, Mom, you're a disgrace.
New job?
Yeah.
If you're working, who's looking after Mommy?
You're not my father.
I don't want to be your
You
father.
can't treat me like this.
You don't think everybody knows what's up, Haley? Everybody.
She's about to cry. I can always tell when adults are about to cry. Why is my mom yelling?
They're just talking. They gotta figure something out.
See, I took you on a safari. Whoa. Let's go, come on.
Have a nice day.
Love you, baby!
I love you too.
What are your guys' thoughts on the Florida Project?
You know, why do you always got to pick the sad stuff?
You know-
I come into movies having a good time. End of semester, I want to relax. I had a good time with Totoro. I had somewhat a good time with his movie. I was like, yeah. And then I saw your movie. I was like, oh, man.
Yeah, I know.
Paul, I was scribbling your name. I was like, man,
Yeah.
man I
No.
want to relax, man.
I know. I didn't think I was gonna be tearing up, getting emotional at work watching this movie last night, but I was like, man. And like when I first heard the name of it, I was like thinking it was like, oh, the Stanford Prison Project. I was like, oh no, I was very wrong.
Yeah, you know, I do have a reputation for picking sad movies, but I thought I had that in mind when I was choosing, because I was like, well, my original pick was Manchester by the Sea, but I was like, that one's too depressing and sad to watch. So I was like, this one's kind of fun, and it has a lot of bright colors. So
It does.
Yeah, as soon as I saw Florida, I was like, well, I'm in for a treat.
Yeah. And one thing like about the colors you said, I noticed as I was watching, you know, all the scenes with the kids, you know, go out and doing their stuff, all passing by the bay was so as well like colorful and poppy, you know. And then when it would cut to Willem Dafoe's character Bobby, you know, he would be get done working on something, and it'd get real dark and moody, and him lighting up his cigarette. And I really like that juxtaposition, you know, going back and forth between the perspectives of like, you know, childhood innocence and just the grit. And that's one of the other main themes in this movie is just, you know, childhood innocence versus, you know, what's actually going on.
Yeah, the harsh realities of life. Yeah. You know, what's interesting about Sean Baker is that he's a really small director, and he likes using a lot of like non-traditional actors.
Yeah, like I told you, I did a little research after I watched it last night, and the chick that plays Mooney's mom is actually an Instagram model, which is crazy to me because she killed it, I think. And it was, you know, and she understood the assignment, you know, what she was playing. I think, you know.
Yeah, like all the movies, you know, we see. Of course, I can't compare anime and movie, but this really does feel like the more quote unquote realistic of acting when it comes to performances, because it doesn't feel like I'm watching an actor give a performance. It just feels like I'm just creeping out of the bushes, watching these people living their lives.
Yeah, I'm watching domestic disputes like, in real time.
I'd be peeping out the window, be like, "Oh, what's gonna happen next?"
You know, maybe some light abuse going on.
A little bit,
few
yeah.
scenes.
I gotta call somebody, but they actually get good.
Yeah. a lot of cigarettes were had in this movie.
Yeah.
You know, Willem Dafoe in this movie is insane. Like,
Yeah.
he goes so well from being kind of like funny to menacing to like straight up like scary. When like one of my favorite parts is when he goes and he sees like that guy just hanging around. He's like asking questions.
Yeah, he's like, I just want a soda.
Yeah.
and then like he walks him all the way to the soda machine, and he cracks it open, gets a drink, and he's like smacking. He's like, no, get out of here, man.
Y'all, you forget. It's Florida.
It's Florida.
Florida man's always there.
Yeah, it's true.
Well, no, that guy was actually from New Jersey. Remember, he grabs his ID. He's
Oh
like,
yeah,
New Jersey.
Oh, they should have known better than going down there.
And I know, and like Willem Dafoe's character, he says like the sheriff's department maybe like 30 times. This movie he still talks about calling the sheriff's department. And I really just liked the opening scene in this movie. When like the kids, you know, they're spitting on the car and stuff. I'm like, oh, it's gonna be one of these kind of movies. Like these kids are just gonna be little, you know, a-holes. But then like it opens up and they're, you know, just shows them actually being kids. And like you know, I guess my first impression was like, oh, they're gonna be a little, you know,
a little
trouble me, a little demons. But no, they're not. They're just kids, you know.
Yeah, I mean, that's a funny thing when you say that. Be like, oh man, they're being this, but they're just kids.
Yeah. I mean, and also just, I know that's not an excuse, but like, the environment they're from, they don't know any better, really. Because that's all they know. Especially, like, you know, when their parents, you know, just openly, like, curse in front of them and stuff like that. And it's funny because I've been around kids like that in my life whose parents are kind of like that, you know, just don't care. And I never realized as a kid, like, I wasn't allowed to hang around, go to those people's houses. I never understood until I got older. And this kind of reminded me of that. I was like, oh, that's why.
I mean, the thing about this movie, the biggest thing is that, you know, childhood innocence and not knowing what the real world is like and what adults go through and all that kind of stuff. And that's all what everybody goes through. You know, as a kid, the only thing we're worried about is either school, watching TV, playing our video games, going outside with our friends. just relaxing, just being kids, But then, you know, they start creeping into the, you know, realism towards the end where I was like really sad. And I was like, man. And I think the theme of them, you know, going to Disneyland, you know, this amusement park where you can just not think about the real world, just have a good time. I think that represents the movie as a whole, you know, just wanting to shout the world, but at the end of the day, you have to embrace it. And it's going to be hard, but that's the thing about growing up. It's hard, it sucks, but we all got to do it.
And one thing is also, like you said, the innocence near the end. I really like an argue, like, you know, the parents would be arguing, talking about real stuff the kids should be hearing. And it'll cut to, like, the kid's perspective, and it's kind of like, almost like deafened a little bit in the background. Like, it's almost like, you know, as a kid, like, you don't know what they're talking about.
Yeah, because, you know.
You're just saying, oh, they're upset, you know, you don't really.
I mean, that's the thing we all, like, went through. I remember going through it similar to myself, you know, when, like, elections were going on, and then, like, this kid would talk about, you know, my parents are wonderful for this person and that person, da-da-da. And I would just be like,
I just want to play video games.
I just want to watch SpongeBob.
Can I go ride my dirt bike? Yeah, like, like that, you know,
can I just ride a bike? Can I just get some ice cream?
And I have a question. So, as I was watching the end, we think that Monet's friend, I forget her name, the one,
I'm terrible.
The one downstairs, whatever. You know, it makes you think that she's the one that called CPS, but I think it implies that Bobby called CPS. I think at the end, because like that's what I think it kind of implies that almost. I think it kind of leaves it up in the air, but like especially when he's walking away and he's kind of like walking away from the scream and trying to ignore it. I really think he's the one that ended up calling CPS.
You know, I think that's an interesting point because it's like, I mean, what is like your ethical feelings towards that? Because I feel like Bobby wants like what's best for the kids.
Yeah, even though like it's just one of those things like in the moment, it's not good, it sucks, but in the long term,
I mean. Again, it's that whole thing of like, you know, kids not understanding it. It's that thing of like, hey, they'll appreciate it when you're older. Because I bet we all have those things where we look back on it and we hated something that our parents did or one of our guardians did, and we thought we hated them. We'd be like, how could you do this? Don't you understand how I feel? But then you look back on it and be like, you know what? I'm glad you did that because if you didn't, I would be in this place and I don't want to be there.
Yeah, it's just one of those things in the moment. You're like, man, this like sucks. But then like as I was watching, I was like thinking, you know, if she does go to a different family, it'd probably be that, you know, she actually have a room and actual clothes and
not living in a motel.
Yeah. And also like Mooney's mom. One thing about her, I like how it wasn't just like a stereotypical like dirtbag mom. She actually like played with her daughter and cared about her, even though she had her flaws, but she still.
That's something that I really like about Sean Baker is that he really strives to like give these characters like depth.
Yeah, instead of just being like a one note kind of thing. Oh, just tweak her mom, whatever. You know, doesn't care about her kid. No, yeah, and I also like it. I think helps build that struggle about CPS being called. You know, like she's trying, but at the same time, she's having people over to the room and making her, and that really tore me up. All the like scenes when she had to get in the bathtub and stuff.
You know what? This movie. No, sorry to cut you off.
No, you're fine. Go ahead.
I know. It reminded me a lot of Lilo and Stitch. During the whole, Lilo and her sister going through the whole custody situation with Mr. Bubbles. Because as a kid, I didn't really understand. I was like, yeah, okay, I guess. But looking back on it, I was like, wow, this movie has some depth. And it's there's a really messed up thing going on here. Like, because you have the scene in the beginning of Lilo and Stitch where, Nani's trying to make sure that, hey, he sees that Lilo has a happy home and not everything's going well. And then looking at, what the mother has to go through in this movie, it's like, I get it. I sympathize with you, but if you don't get your act together, and it sucks because a lot of times kids do get removed from their parents, but they actually don't end up in a happier situation, where it kind of leaves it open-ended, where we don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah, and one thing about the ending, when I was watching it, is like, I was like, wow, why is it like changed? Like, why's the camera gotten a little bit different when they go to Disney? I'm like, oh, you can't film in Disneyland. They probably just had an iPhone out,
Oh, yeah.
Well, that's all the time we have. Join us next week for our final episode of the semester where we talk about our favorite summer movies. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next time.